start writing on it. Mrs. I want you to look very carefully at the movement of your hand, of your right hand as it writes on the envelope, okay?
Okay.
Since you can't see what you're writing, you have to just look at the movement. You're writing something there, correct?
It appears to be, yes.
Okay, and you picked up the pen, now you're writing something else.
Correct.
And now you picked up the pen, now you're writing something else.
Correct.
So, Ms. Mazzola, there were 3 different things that you wrote on that envelope, correct?
It appears that I have the coin envelope and the plastic envelope. They're together.
Ms. Mazzola, did you write 3 different things with your hand in that down position?
It appears so.
Okay. And, Ms. Mazzola, one of the things that you were taught to write was the number, correct?
Correct.
Second thing you were taught to write is the number sign. Is that correct?
We were not taught that.
So sometimes you do that and sometimes you don't?
I tend to do that.
You tend to do that.
I tend to do that.
Okay, that's the second thing. The third thing, Ms. Mazzola, and that would be the first thing you were doing there, was actually writing your initial. Isn't that correct?
I don't know if that was my initials or not.
Ms. Mazzola, when you write your initial AM, don't you write it in one continuous motion?
Yes.
All right, one second. Continue. Let's continue regular speed. Now, by the way, Ms. Mazzola, you wrote out the envelope and put documentation on because that's a standard practice of yours, correct?
Correct.
Yet on the demonstration board, there is no photograph of you actually filling out the envelope, is there?
I don't know.
Can you just freeze it 1 second? Would you agree, Ms. Mazzola, that it's an important step for a criminalist to document the item that he or she is collecting?
Yes.
And it's important for purposes of identifying an item, is that right?
That's right.
And it's also important for maintaining or beginning the chain of custody, isn't that right?
Yes.
Now take a look at the demonstration board, Ms. Mazzola.
Right.
Would you agree that even though you say that this is an important step in the process, that there is no photograph showing you documenting the coin envelope on this demonstration board?
There doesn't appear to be.
Did you have any input at all into the creation of this demonstration board without a photograph of you doing the necessary documentation?
I had no input on the construction of the board.
And for the record, what was exhibited to the witness was People's 162.
When you saw the board, you said the board had been shown to you prior to your testifying in this case, hadn't it?
I had a quick look at it, yes.
Of the coin envelope. Did you say that to them?
Sustained.
Can you go forward, please? See the moisture moving out from the control swatch, Ms. Mazzola?
Yes.
You see it, hold it, you see it coming into contact with a portion of the blood stain that moves out in an arm to the right?
It appears that it is.
1 second. Just back it up a little bit, please. Stop. Ms. Mazzola, see the dirt on the fingertips of the third and fourth fingers of your glove?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Oh, stop. Now, Ms. Mazzola, do you see that you've now turned the tweezers around? So the tips are right in the middle of that palm of the glove with the dirty fingers?
I can't see which way the
All right, could you back
tips
it up
are
again for just
facing.
could you back it up for a few seconds, please?
Hello there, Dwayne. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Hit the like button, everybody. Shout out to Dwayne and yeah, and that's good that you're helping your son, and that's a lot of very busy with a lot of helping your son, getting all that together. And I will certainly be praying for that, Dwayne. Thank you for your letting me know about what you've been up to and the prayer request. I appreciate it. And we've missed you, and I appreciate you very much, you and Sharon's support. All right, and now we'll continue with the OJ trial. Here we go.
Okay, now, stop. Do you see that the tip of the tweezers is going into that envelope, into the plastic bag?
Correct.
Now go forward in slow motion, please. And now do you agree stop. It is now the tip of the tweezers which has gone back into your hand.
The tips would not be in my palm area because they're extremely sharp.
Well, Ms. Mazzola, I'm not suggesting that you were cutting yourself or sticking yourself with the tweezers, but wouldn't you agree that it's possible to simply take the tweezers and hold them like this in your palm without cutting yourself?
Oh.
Isn't it possible you can do that, Ms. Mazzola?
Not those type of tweezers.
You're saying that those type of tweezers are such that you cannot hold them like this without cutting yourself? Is that your testimony?
Unless the tips were around the bottom of your hand, I can't see how you could hold the entire tweezers in your hand without getting poked.
Well, Ms. Mazzola, if you have it simply resting in your hand like this, and the point is down here near the bottom of your palm like this, you wouldn't necessarily poke yourself, would you?
If the tips were below your hand, yes.
If the tip is actually resting on your hand, such as I'm doing with my pointed pen, I'm not poking myself, am I?
It's not the same, counsel.
I understand that, Your Honor. But am I poking myself with this?
The tips of those...
Sustained.
Let's continue the tape. Almost done. Ms. Mazzola, the tip of the tweezers is very close to your fingers at this point, isn't it, on your right hand? Even if the actual tip itself isn't touching, you were pretty close to the edge on that, weren't you?
Pretty close, sustained.
You were within a half inch or a quarter of an inch of the tip, weren't you, Ms. Mazzola?
I couldn't tell how close I was on.
Drop of the swatches there, Ms. Mazzola, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, you're having some difficulty getting the swatch to get onto the stain there, right?
Right.
Slow down, stop. And so now you've moved your fingers on the dirty glove that had been in contact with the pavement down toward the tip of those tweezers, haven't you?
They are still a ways away from the tip.
I understand that. But you've moved them down away from the position they were normally in to try and get that swatch to come off the tip, haven't you?
Yes,
And that's the same hand that had the dirt on the fingers, correct?
I believe so.
Continue. Now, Ms. Mazzola, between the collection, now you're collecting item number 6, is that right?
That's correct.
And between the collection of items 5 and item 6, you never changed your gloves, did you?
That's correct.
And is the reason you never changed your gloves because no one at SID ever taught you to change your gloves?
They don't need to teach you when to change your gloves. You change your gloves periodically.
Well, did anyone at LAPD, SID ever teach you to change your gloves between the handling of different bloodstains?
No.
Now, you said that one of the procedures that you had been taught, thank you, that one of the procedures that you had been taught at LAPD was to put some scale in the photograph, such as a tape, such as a ruler, to indicate the size of the actual blood stain, correct?
That mistakes the numbers.
Sustained.
Well, were you taught, as part of your instruction on forensic photography, to have a ruler placed in the scene?
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Ms. Mazzola, did you use a ruler when doing this demonstration to indicate, for purposes of documenting the stain, the size of the stain?
No.
And did you not do that because the prosecutors didn't tell you to do that?
I didn't do that. No one told me not to.
All right. One moment, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Ms. Mazzola, how many crime scenes have you collected bloodstains at since June 13th, 1994?
Two, I believe.
And would you agree that additional training and more experience makes you more proficient today than you were 10 months ago?
Experience helps.
And would you agree that when collecting blood or blood stains, mistakes can occur?
Mistakes can happen, yes.
And would you agree that when collecting bloodstains, especially in evidence that's going to go out for DNA analysis, that the criminalist must understand how, in the course of making different mistakes, DNA could become degraded.
I don't think we bear in mind just DNA specifically. We look at any serological testing.
Were you ever taught at the SID Mini Academy any connection at all between the mistakes that can happen at a crime scene and the effects it will have on DNA or other serological testing?
Mistakes is overbroad.
Sustain. Rephrase the question.
Now, the wet swatches, Ms. Mazzola, were placed in the truck in brown paper bags. Is that right?
That's correct.
Does the LAPD SID unit have a written procedure for storing biological evidence in the van?
I do not know.
Well, there's a refrigerator in the van, isn't there?
Yes.
Did Fung instruct you to put the bloodstained swatches in the refrigerator?
Plus percent.
Or
No, he did not.
And you didn't see Fung put them in the refrigerator, did you?
No.
Would you agree, Ms. Mazzola, that, or were you aware of the fact that the refrigerator worked at least some of the time?
I was aware that it worked some of the time, yes.
And that it would work for several hours before eventually the battery going dead?
I wasn't sure how long it would work.
Well, had you ever been aware of the fact that it did work for more than 1 or 2 hours?
I don't remember if I ever found that out.
You didn't find out how long it did work for?
No.
Well, would you agree, Ms. Mazzola, that even a few hours of keeping wet blood swatches in a refrigerator is better than not keeping them there at all?
Beyond the scope of your expertise.
sustain.
Well, Ms. Mazzola, you said that you had been told by people at LAPSID that heat can have some effect on bacteria growing on the blood swatches. Isn't that correct?
Sustain. Counsel, I assume there's some other witness who's going to testify to these effects.
One moment, Your Honor. When you came back to Rockingham, late 13th, the first item of evidence that you collected inside the house was item number 12. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
And item number 12 is more than a single drop of blood, isn't it?
If I remember correctly, it is.
In fact, it is 3 drops of blood, isn't it?
I'm not exactly sure how many.
Well, the other drops of blood or blood stains that you collected from the driveway that day, they were all individual drops, were they not?
Yes.
And weren't you taught, Ms. Mazzola, that whenever you have distinct drops, even if they're close together, that they should be collected in separate packages?
That was up to the discretion of the supervisor.
Let me show you 14. Ms. Mazzola, did you receive a handout from the SID unit entitled Collection and Preservation of Body Fluids? You have it?
I might have. I don't remember.
Next in order would be
1118, 1118.
show you this. Let me ask you to take a look at item number 13.
Okay.
By the way, Ms. Mazzola, also look at this. These 2 pages represent a handout that you received at the SID Mini Academy.
Yes, they look familiar.
Okay. And in the handout that you received from the SID Mini Academy, weren't you told specifically, quote, if there is more than one distinct stain, these should be treated as different stains and collected separately?
That's what the handout says.
All right? And Ms. Mazzola, does it anywhere in that handout say, oh, but wait a second, you can make an exception specifically, quote, if there is more than one distinct stain, these should be treated as different stains and collected separately?
That's what the handout says.
All right? And Ms. Mazzola, does it anywhere in that handout say, oh, but wait a second, you can make an exception if the senior criminalist says to?
Sustained.
Did you ever receive any written instructions at all from LAPD SID suggesting that you could make an exception from that rule when the senior criminalist so chose?
There was nothing written down.
In fact, even on the demo board that we just looked at, Ms. Mazzola, items 5 and 6 are only several inches apart, aren't they?
I believe, well, what do you qualify as several?
Would you agree, Ms. Mazzola, that items 5 and 6 are within a foot of one another?
They could be within a foot, yes.
And Ms. Mazzola, I believe you said that you had also been taught that it wasn't necessary to pick up every single drop in an area, but only to pick up representative drops. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In fact, other than the 3 drops that you saw in the foyer, where you picked up item number 12, weren't there some other small drops in the vicinity that you didn't bother to collect?
I don't remember if I saw any other little drops around that area or not.
But you would agree, ma'am, that there were at least a few drops in that foyer area where you collected number 12?
Yes.
And Ms. Mazzola, I believe you said that from looking at the drops outside, one could not tell which direction they were going in. Isn't that correct?
I did not look at them as to try to determine directionality. I don't have any experience in that field.
Well, did Mr. Fung in your presence say that they had any particular direction?
Sustained.
And I believe you said, Ms. Mazzola, before that you can't tell whether or not this trail of blood drops at Rockingham is leading from the house to the Bronco or from the Bronco to the house. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Just for foundation for the next question.
It's what you...
Hello, Abs. Good to thank you so much. Okay, have a great night. Well, Have a great night, Abs. Thank you for the update. Prayers for your healing, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Hello, Mermaid. Great to see you as well. Welcome to the stream. All right. Oh, you too, Abs. Thank you. Thank you.
She said.
Cuts himself or herself, you bleed more profusely, and then as clotting occurs, the bleeding dies down. Did you learn that?
Yeah, understood. Right.
Sustained.
Well, Ms. Mazzola, just from your common everyday experience, have you ever had a cut?
Yes.
Calls for an opinion conclusion.
Ms. Mazzola, what do you know experiences as to how frequently blood drops are made when you first get cut and how they are consistent?
Your Honor, I have 2 points.
Oh, let me hear the question.
Are consistent, Ms. Mazzola, with an individual cutting himself inside the house where you observe
Sustained.
those 3 drops.
Sustained. Counsel, this is beyond her expertise.
A moment. Next in order then. We'll pick this up.
1119. Yeah, thank you. Wind it up. No, go ahead and finish your thought.
Ms. Mazzola, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
And is that photograph showing at least 3 different blood drops on the
Yes.
foyer near the card number 12?
Yes.
And isn't it true, Ms. Mazzola, that that was the only blood drops or blood stains that you observed on the first floor of the house?
That's correct.
And isn't it true, Ms. Mazzola, that after you collected those blood drops in item number 12 in the foyer near the front door, that you then walked up the stairway?
I believe we started going up the stairs, yes.
And you examined the light carpet on the stairs?
Yes.
And as you examined that light carpet on the stairs, there was absolutely no blood stains seen there at all, right?
I did not observe any.
Well, you were looking, weren't you?
Right.
And wasn't Dennis Funlund observed any either, did he?
That's correct.
And you were not only looking for blood drops at that point, you were also looking for dried flecks of blood as well, weren't you?
Anything that was red.
And you didn't see anything that was red on this white carpet ascending all the way up the stairs?
I don't remember what color the carpet was.
Well, was it light-colored, ma'am?
It was light, yes.
It was the kind of color that if there was a red drop, it would stand out, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And then as you walked down the hallway on that second floor toward Mr. Simpson's bedroom, there was also that same light-colored carpeting, correct?
I don't recall Could be, I don't remember.
Well, when you were examining the floor, weren't you at that point? Any blood drops there either, did you?
That's correct.
And you didn't drops there either, did you?
That's correct.
And you didn't see any flecks of blood, did you?
No.
Didn't see any flecks of blood, did you?
No.
From LAPD SID suggesting that you could make an exception from that rule when the senior criminalist so chose.
There was nothing written down.
In fact, even on the demo board that we just looked at, Ms. Mazzola, items 5 and 6 are only several inches apart, aren't they?
I believe, well, what do you qualify as several?
Would you agree, Ms. Mazzola, that items 5 and 6 are within a foot of one another?
They could be within a foot, yes.
And Ms. Mazzola, I believe you said that you had also been taught that it wasn't necessary to pick up every single drop in an area, but only to pick up representative drops. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In fact, other than the 3 drops that you saw in the foyer, where you picked up item number 12, weren't there some other small drops in the vicinity that you didn't bother to collect?
I don't remember if I saw any other little drops around that area or not.
But you would agree, ma'am, that there were at least a few drops in that foyer area where you collected number 12?
Yes.
And Ms. Mazzola, I believe you said that from looking at the drops outside, one could not tell which direction they were going in. Isn't that correct?
I did not look at them as to try to determine directionality. I don't have any experience in that field.
Well, did Mr. Fung in your presence say that they had any particular direction?
Sustain.
And I believe you said, Ms. Mazzola, before that you can't tell whether or not this trail of blood drops at Rockingham is leading from the house to the Bronco or from the Bronco to the house. Isn't that correct?
Pass, yes,
Just for foundation for the next question.
That's what she said.
In fact, Ms. Mazzola, from what you just said, the greatest number of drops that you saw in any particular area was that concentration of drops in the foyer, inside the front door. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Let me ask you a hypothetical, Ms. Mazzola.
May I just- Okay, put it on.
Ms. Mazzola, as a criminalist, have you learned that when a person initially cuts himself or herself you bleed more profusely, and then as clotting occurs, the bleeding dies down. Did you learn that?
Yeah, understood. Understood.
Sustain.
Well, Ms. Mazzola, just from your common everyday experience, have you ever had a cut?
Yes.
Calls for an opinion conclusion.
Ms. Mazzola, what do you know, both professionally and from your own experiences, as to how frequently blood drops are made when you first get cut and how they dissipate as time passes?
Same objections.
Oh, do you know anything about those topics?
I don't know how fast the blood drops form or drop.
Well, let me ask you this hypothetical, Ms. Mazzola. If someone cut himself in the foyer of his house, might he bleed more profusely inside before going outside?
Sustain.